Do you wish you had more confidence? The reason most people fail to fulfill their potential is not a lack of skill or opportunity, it's a lack of belief in themselves. Confidence is important. Self-confidence has been shown to have a positive impact on better health, social life, mental well-being, happiness, and job satisfaction. But confidence is a funny thing. We think some people just have it, and that's true. Some people naturally have more confidence than others. But confidence is also fleeting. No one has all the confidence all the time. Everyone experiences self-doubt at some point, and those with the highest confidence often have the lowest self-doubt in some stages. But like most things, confidence is a skill. It's the skill of how we take control of our thoughts and actions. And like all skills, we can get better at it with practice. In this video, I'll show you the basics of building confidence. I want to start with the definition of confidence and then break it down in terms of where and why people tend to lose confidence. When we approach it this way, it makes it a lot easier to understand what's affecting our confidence and what we can do about it. The best definition of confidence that I have learned goes like this. Confidence is our belief in our ability to meet a challenge based on evidence of the past. I love this definition not only because it sums up confidence perfectly, it provides a roadmap for us to choose thoughts and actions that help us build confidence. And we're going to start with this piece here, our ability to meet a challenge. When most people think about confidence, they automatically think about their belief in themselves. But that's not where I want to start. I want to talk about how we sometimes amplify the challenges that we face. A lot of the time, our lack of confidence comes from overcomplicating the challenge. Let's say you've just started a new role at work and you're not quite sure you're going to be great at the role. Like most humans, you have this picture in your head of what being great at the role actually looks like. Now this is fine, except you also believe that this is the challenge. You believe the challenge is to be great at the role. Unfortunately for your confidence, you've picked the wrong challenge. Your goal is likely unreasonable within the first 3, 6, or 12 months. You're probably not going to be great because you need time to adjust and learn. There are different challenges that you could select though. The challenge might be to learn as much about the role as possible, or to get to know your new team members, or to know more on Friday than you did on Monday. To put it another way, we need to focus on the micro challenge instead of the macro challenge. Think about how differently this would feel. When your challenge is to be great at the role, it can be overwhelming and makes you wonder if you'll ever get there. When your challenge is to learn as much as possible about the role, suddenly this feels achievable. I mean, there's absolutely no doubt that you have the ability to learn about the role. You can apply this to anything. You may not think you can run a marathon, but you know you can do tomorrow's training session. You may not think that you can write a book, but you know you can draft the first paragraph of the introduction. You may not think you can start a business, but you can do some market research on that product idea. The beauty of focusing on the next step is that confidence is boosted when we get a win. When we focus on the micro challenge, we get constant reinforcement that we're capable. When we focus on the macro challenge, we get constant reinforcement that we're not there yet. This is the reason world-class athletes have a pre-event routine. It stops them from focusing on uncertain, overwhelming challenges like winning a gold medal and allows them to focus on the next small step in their preparation. These small steps represent small wins in the process to their bigger goal. So back to our definition of confidence. And now I want to focus on the proof we have of our ability, or the evidence from the past. I said earlier that these past events might be directly or indirectly related to the challenge you're facing in the moment. Indirect evidence might be recalling times when you've been able to try again after a setback, display your resilience, or apply yourself to something for a period of time. Evidence of these abilities are applicable to just about any challenge that you might face. Now, this piece is important. The difference between confidence and arrogance is that confidence is our belief in our ability based on evidence from the past, while arrogance is our belief in our ability based on absolutely no evidence in the past, or even worse, based on our ignorance of contrary evidence from the past. We all have evidence from the past that we are good enough to meet our micro challenges. Some of it's direct evidence and some of it's indirect. But if you look closely, you'll find it. The problem is that humans are prone to remember more negatives than positive. If you suffer from a lack of confidence, this will be even more true for you. There's a structure in our emotional brain called the amygdala, and this is like a thermometer for emotions. It doesn't care if an emotion is positive or negative, it just measures the strength of that emotion. And it reacts disproportionately for the same amount of goodness and badness. So let's say I win $1,000 at the casino. This amygdala would get a little excited. But if I lost $1,000, it would go absolutely haywire. This was a brilliant survival mechanism when I could afford to miss a reward like some food or a safe place to sleep, but I could absolutely not afford to miss a threat. Today, it hijacks our brains by paying more attention to negatives than positives. One trick that athletes use is they keep a training diary throughout the year. And every time they do a great training session, they highlight that in their diary. Now, in the days leading up to a big event, when they're starting to doubt themselves, they go back through that training diary, and particularly those highlighted days, and gain confidence from their past performances. Now, you probably don't keep a training diary for all the times you've done good work, but maybe you should. At the very least, every now and then, write down the things that you feel proud of achieving in the past. It can be small or it can be big. It doesn't really matter as long as it's something you feel was an achievement, especially if it was something you didn't think you could do in the first place. A colleague once told me about an email folder she called her smile file. Every time she got great feedback from a client or manager, she'd put that email in the smile file, and then whenever she felt doubt, she'd simply open that folder and read through some of those emails. And now let's talk about our belief in our ability. Beliefs are incredibly important. Our beliefs about the future shape our behaviours in the present. If we believe a situation's hopeless, we won't bother taking action. But if we believe we can influence an outcome, we're more likely to do things to make this happen. One of the core beliefs we need for performance, confidence, and resilience is growth mindset. Growth mindset is a concept popularized by Carol Dweck and Angela Duckworth. And if you haven't read either of their books, Mindset or Grit, they should be next on your to-do list. Growth mindset is simply our belief that we can improve with the right amount and type of practice. With this mindset, what they show us is that people are more likely to persevere, to apply themselves, and therefore to succeed than those who don't have a growth mindset. The reason growth mindset is such a key element of confidence is that it allows you to believe that it doesn't matter where your starting point is. You can get incrementally better if you apply yourself in the right way. And this isn't just about your personal ability, it's about your belief in the human ability to adapt and grow. Now, there are two other aspects that contribute to self-confidence that aren't quite in the definition. One is confidence in the process. It's a lot easier to have confidence when you have a clear process for success. When you see the best sporting teams in the world under pressure, what you'll see is that they can remain calm. Part of the reason for this is that they have been here before and they know how to get out of it. That's the evidence we talked about earlier. But another reason is they have a clear strategy for winning at that stage of the game. You see, our process involves the small steps that we take so that we can give our best performance. If you've got a big exam coming up, then maybe your process is the way you review chapters, answer sample questions, and maybe use flashcards for remembering definitions. You can also relate this to a footballer kicking a penalty goal. What you'll notice is they do the same thing every time before they kick the ball. Now, of course, the process never guarantees success, but it gives us the best chance to perform at our best. With a great process that's worked for us in the past, we can be confident that the process works. And the thing is, we always have the ability to just execute the next stage of the process. Finally, something that you've heard me talk about a million times before, and that's this concept that feeling follows action. Most people operate the other way around, where feeling drives action. That means if I don't feel confident, then I'll engage in unconfident behaviors. I won't start that challenge or speak up in meetings. I won't follow the process because I don't think I can do it. One thing you'll notice is this. When you're confident and performing at your best, you'll do certain things and you'll act a certain way. Whereas in those moments where you're unconfident, you'll likely do very different things. This makes no sense, but it's typical human behavior. It says, when I'm performing well, I do X, but when I'm unconfident and need to perform well, I do Y instead. The key here is knowing what you do when you're confident. I once talked to a soccer player who knew that he played well when he was really confident and poorly when he wasn't. I asked him to think about the differences in his behavior when he was confident. He said, when I'm confident, my feet are always moving, my head and chest are facing up, and I'm vocal. But when I don't feel confident, I tend to stand still, my chest and head drop, and I'm a lot more quiet. Well, the simple solution was this. Despite how you feel, move your feet, lift your chest and head, and call out in a strong voice to your teammates. I could tell he wasn't convinced that this would help, but when he did it, he felt instantly more confident and played better. So in summary so far, to build confidence, we need to be clear about the small challenge, not the big outcome. Remember what we've achieved in the past. We need to be clear about our process to perform at our best. And we need to understand growth mindset. And we need to know our body language and behaviors that make us feel confident. Now, at the top of this video, I said that confidence is a skill. It's the skill to implement the right thoughts and actions when we're unsure of ourselves. We've talked a lot about action, but if I could leave you with one thing, it would be the thoughts and self-talk that we need to implement when we're not feeling our most confident selves. You don't have to use these word for word, but what you do need to do is be clear on the thoughts that you want to have when you're not feeling confident. If you turn these into kind of autopilot mantras, then you'll be able to call on them whenever you need them. So think about these. When we're overwhelmed by the challenge, we need to ask, what's the next small thing I can do? When we need to remember the evidence that we're good enough, we can think, I've succeeded in the past, I can succeed again. When we're unsure about our ability, we can say, I can get better at anything with the right practice. When we don't feel like we can keep going, when we're losing motivation, we can think, trust the process. And especially when you're being overwhelmed by emotion, you can think, feeling follows action. Just do the next positive thing. Like a lot of things about human performance, confidence is really simple and yet incredibly difficult to master. Hopefully you've picked up a few things in this video that can help you do the things that make you feel more confident. And remember, don't think of confidence as an emotion, think of confidence as a thought and an action.